Music, please.
Two very talented young men whose mellow and exciting style of rapping has earned them a gold album in only their first try. They are EPMD.
The E double or the PMD, the E double or the PMD.
I'm shaking business.
Try to answer to the master or the empty rap goddess. No joke on no lyric, sorry to be modest. I knew I was the man with the master plan to make it wiggle and jiggle like gelatin. Just think while I sing and to the bring structure. Don't sleep on the ear. You see something might rupture. It don't take time for me to blow your mind. It take a second to wreck it because you're dumb and blind, so just laugh. But you an MC clappers on the circus. EPMD is in town.
Total chaos, no mass confusion. Rhymes so hypnotizing on the course and illusion. Like a magician, he draws a rabbit out of a hat, son. I draw a ball like a 44 Magnum. MC freeze, stop him and listen and try to imagine. He's traveling the speed of light, but everything's motion is frightening. Plus the thought you alone, you now enter the dimension called the Twilight Zone. You're terrified. Plus you can't bear the thought. You and I one-on-one in the land of the lost. You start to shiver. Then you scream, my friend, you wake up monthly because you're dreaming again. But next time I wanna see you, do not try to business. Keep your mouth so sucker jump because I'm strictly business. Plus I'm strictly business. Plus I'm strictly business. Because you might get shot. Because I'm strictly business.
This is the rap season when the East start teasing. Girls around the world, no need to be squeezing when I roll
What's good? What's good? What's good with everyone today? Welcome to Wyatt Live 5 p.m. Drive Home Show. It is Friday. It's the day that everybody works the entire week to get to. Yes, sir. Friday. It is also a Who Day Friday. Can I get a Who Day? Where my Who Day players? Where my fans at? Where the Who Day fans? Where are you today? Let me see if I can get the monitor up. A lot of people probably thought I wasn't coming on today. Hell, I didn't think I was going to be on today, to be honest with you. So I won't be long. I'll just drop this little bit of what I have all for you today, and then I'll keep it on stepping and start getting prepared for Sunday's game. For both Sunday games, I want to see the two teams that are going to enter the 2023 Super Bowl, NFL Super Bowl, that will be held in Phoenix, Arizona this year. It's going to be a great day this Sunday. For my Bengal fans, everybody else just close your ears for a sec. For my true Bengal fans, isn't it amazing? Even win, lose, or draw, well, can't be a draw on Sunday. Win or lose, this has been a successful year. This has been a successful year. I'm not writing the season off, of course not. I'm going to win. I'm anticipating a win. But isn't it amazing how an organization can turn over so quickly? Well, I shouldn't say quickly. It only took 30 years. But back-to-back chances to go to the Super Bowl. And the first year we actually did it. The first year we actually have been able to do it. And we didn't win, but isn't it even more amazing that you can come back the following year and play for the AFC Championship to go right back to the Super Bowl and compete again? Again? This is deja vu. Didn't we go to Kansas City last year and we were expected to get blown out? Nobody gave us a chance in that game. All of the all guy, the guys that know everything about the NFL, former players, all the analysts, all the bookies, and everybody had us losing. Our offensive line, I mean, that worried me. Our offensive line wasn't any good. It was probably statistically the worst in the NFL, giving up all those sacks, rookies on the line, banged up, they were hurt. We had no chance last year and still made it to the bowl. I'm a firm believer that hard work and dedication will beat people that have better skills than you. You have to look at the Cincinnati Bengals as being one of those teams that actually prove that. Hard work can beat better teams. Hard work can beat the person that's actually better than you. They're just proof of it. It's proof. And, you can put Cincinnati Bengals in that category. Those guys just grind and put their head down and move forward. They're just proof. So what's good with everybody? How's everybody doing today? It is Friday. It's the weekend. And some of you who get off a little later or who have third shift and it's still your Friday, you'll get through this and make it all the way to Sunday, game day. I can't wait. So I want to just say this because I know we're going to be light on people today because Fridays are not normal. I'm normally not on Fridays. And Fridays, most people don't want to hear me on Friday because I kind of blow they high. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. There's a lot of people on Friday that go to happy hour because they didn't been through some shit all week. The last thing they want to do is hear some shit from me. The last thing they want to hear is some positive shit. They didn't been through so much negative all week. They ready to just go blow their brains out with a $5 drink. They probably sipping and smoking right now. I want to hear that metaphorical shit he be talking. I want to hear that shit. This shit make too much sense, man. Let me just have my moment. Let me get through this. What's good, my folks? Hey, listen. I am anticipating a win for the Bengals this weekend. So some of them start doing what they doing, the fans start doing what they doing today. Some of y'all already tailgating. Soon as you got off work, soon as you pulled up in your garage, you then went straight to your toy room, your toy box. Do kids still have, I'm just curious, I'm going to start the show in a minute. Do kids still have toy boxes? Man, I had a mean ass toy box when I was a kid. Do they even make toy boxes anymore? Because my kids, they never had a toy box. I'll be honest with you. They had a lot of toys. Lord knows they had a lot of toys. But remember, we had boxes. We didn't have the commercial boxes, the boxes that they had in the department stores that were toy boxes. We created our toy boxes. We use milk crates, shit like that. When Wick dropped that shit off, sometime we would keep a crate or two. Them became our toy boxes. We utilize, hey, bro, listen, man, I'm going to start in a minute, but y'all know how I reminisce. But when you grow up in the hood, you learn how to utilize everything around you to your disposal, even when it came to entertainment, toys and shit. Toys. And I mean, like, we didn't have Johnny Toy Store visits and shit like that growing up. So we had to create all our entertainment. That's why we have such vivid imaginations these days. These kids today don't have to have as much imagination as we did. Computers and technology has really helped kids make fake shit become reality. Like virtual reality today and these video games. We didn't have video games when I was a kid. No. Now, when I became a teenager, you can go to the store, up to Swartz or down to Vince Morton's or some shit, put a quarter in the game and play a Pac-Man game for 5 minutes, if that. That was it. You can never play that shit at home. They didn't have that. I mean, shit. Everybody know if you played Pac-Man in your house, you stole it. You didn't beat Vince Martin for his little Pac-Man game or his Galaxy or some shit like that. And then here come this Atari 2600. Lord knows I cried. I got one for my 13th birthday. I remember I was 13. I got a pair of Jordache jeans. I shouldn't say this shit. I shouldn't tell y'all my business. But I got a pair of Jordache jeans, an Argyle sweater, and Argyle socks. Remember we used to rock the Argyles, y'all, with the penny loafers? I had y'all know this is going to sound like some funny shit, but some of y'all know this is real. Y'all know y'all had them same moments. I had a pair of penny loafers with a penny in it, a pair of like red, gray, and whatever Argyle socks, had the Argyle sweater to match it. Y'all remember we used to rock the Argyles. And then I had a pair of Jordache jeans. And them things was like super, I don't know. They had no flexibility in them whatsoever. They were straight leg jeans. And I mean, when you say straight leg, they call them straight legs because they kept your legs straight. You couldn't even walk. Like that's when pimping from black folks, that's when we lost the whole pimp game. You couldn't, now some Levi's, you can pimp. You can walk, you can hold yourself, you can do all that gangster shit. But Jordache jeans, they was built different. They had your ass standing straight up like this, and you couldn't really pimp. And if you pimp, you look kind of funny pimping in Jordache. But Jordache was really like the preppy look. Jordache, Argyle sweaters. Now, before y'all think that I didn't moved off and did some shit like move to the suburbs or some old goofy shit like that with my Argyles and shit on. Now, I was 13. I lived in the Fay Apartments when I was 13. Yeah. up on the hill real high looking down on everybody. We was wealthy. We were rich up in the Faye. My Faye dogs, my 2-5, they all sitting back like, yeah, why you could say that again. We ain't had no more than nobody else other than grass. We had grass in the Faye, little front yard, made us feel like we had something. That's it. But other than that, man, yeah, I had for my 13th birthday. See, my birthday is in December. So I had a really, really good December as a kid because my birthday would be December the 6th. And then here come Christmas a couple weeks later. Now, that don't mean I got a lot of shit. It just happened to be a month that I got a few things. So December was a good month for me. Yeah, I mean, it was a good month for probably everybody because of Christmas. But when you add a birthday and Christmas, that shit that add up. That make it seem like you special. So listen, my 13th birthday, I received a pair of Argyle socks, Argyle sweater, some Jordache, and then 3 weeks later, I got my first video game, and it was the Atari 2600 with the Pac-Man. It had Pac-Man. Now you know how you had to buy the cartridges. So my grandmother got me the Pac-Man, the Asteroid, and Donkey Kong. Them three right there kept me straight. I think that put Schwartz out of business. I think when the Atari 2600 video game came out, that was the end of them big ass video games in all the stores. Nobody went anymore to play that shit. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I probably shouldn't say this shit. So I'm going to say this to my 2-5 family. Am I the only one that the store up the street, y'all know the name of it. I don't want to snitch. I don't know what the federal guidelines are as far as welfare fraud or or food stamp fraud is. But let me ask you, am I the only one that could take $1 food stamp up there and he'll give me 4 quarters for it? Am I the only one? Because I was a video playing. You know, they used to have that Pac-Man machine right by the front door in that one store up there. And I'd go up there and I'd have a food stamp and I'd have to, you know what I mean? I want to play the video game. I ain't want no food. And he'd take that thing and then give me 4 quarters for it and watch me put it in the video game. I didn't know any better. They did. I didn't say the name, so I'm not snitching. But I'm just saying, they knew they wasn't supposed to take that food stamp and give me 4 quills so I could put it in the video game. They knew that. But they did it. Thank you. I ain't going to say the name of the store, but y'all know the only one that was up on the top of the corner, up on the top, with the video game in it, with Pac-Man and all that. It's where we got all our everything. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming. The few that are here, yes, I came in today. I won't be long today. I don't want to take up any of your time. I do want to say this to you before I move on. There is a video of Tyre Nichols. That is the young man that was beat to death by the 5, I call them the Memphis 5, the 5 police officers out of Memphis, Tennessee, who beat this young man to a pulp. Beat him until he beat him till he had internal injuries. I have a little bit more information now. Hey, and I'm going to give a shout out to CNN. I'm going to tell CNN, thank you for giving me a lot of information. You know, them being able to interview people who have already seen the video, being city council members there. And the mayor has seen it. The police chief has seen it. And the city council members of Memphis, Tennessee have seen it today. And I watched them interview people. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a video of Memphis police chief. Happens to be a black female. That's not shocking to me. It's not shocking to me. It's not shocking to me that Memphis mayor is a black man either. That's not shocking to me. Memphis is a black city. And we don't really keep up with Memphis. A lot of people, some people do, but a lot of people don't keep up with Memphis. Memphis is a city that's been going through some things. I think Young Dolph died in Memphis. And Memphis has a lot of issues. They got a lot of street shit going on in Memphis. Whether y'all want to admit it or not, They got a lot of shit going on in Memphis. Memphis is in the top 10 of murder and violent crime in America. In the top 10. I think they fall in like number 9. Doesn't matter. And now, before y'all start thinking, there you go, making up excuses for the police, then you don't watch this show, because I've already made it clear how I think I was the first one to even talk about this when it came to maybe local, us in the Cincinnati area, maybe the Florida area. I'm the only one that's really been talking. I started out this and was calling out some of the news media places. I was actually calling some of these places out, CNN being one of them. They're doing better. But what I don't like about CNN is their whole narrative is totally different. Isn't the argument totally different from CNN right now? I mean, not necessarily CNN. Let me rephrase that. The people that are talking about this incident on CNN, this is police brutality and police brutality only right now. Am I the only one that's seeing that, picking that up? The only people who are talking about this as a racial situation are the same ones that say racial situations on everything else. I promise you. I didn't heard shit even on local radio in Cincinnati. I didn't heard people say things like, now y'all know if those police officers, now put your seatbelt on, brace yourself, because you know what's about to come out. Y'all know if those police officers wasn't black and if they were white, they wouldn't have got fired that fast. See, only a cynical mind and only somebody that is terribly brainwashed would even think something like that. And I'm sorry, if that hit you, then you might want to kind of rethink some things, because exactly what's going on right now is what I said has been going on to black people and white people. The only reason why you don't hear about white people getting their ass beat like this is because you don't care. It's not on our radar. We haven't even been conditioned to find that type of shit. And I'll be honest with you, it's not on my radar either. I keep trying to tell y'all, this getting your ass kicked by the police is an equal opportunity police brutality move. It's police brutality. I told y'all 8 months ago when Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton teamed up to now take on white cases. It's more lucrative when you get in police brutality and the victims are white because it's more of them. Nobody believe me. But that's okay. This is a receipt right here. And all I'm telling you is people that are talking about if this would have been 5 white police officers, if this would have been 5 white, sorry, I was reading a comment. If this would have been 5 white police officers, they wouldn't have got fired so fast. Okay. If this would have been 5 white police officers, they would be on desk duty with pay until what? Until they get indicted? No. The reason why these guys, keep in mind, it didn't even play out the way y'all think it's playing out. And here's where I'm going to make this make sense to you, whether you want to believe it or not. I see everybody that's making these comments. I'm not against it. I just need to add a little bit of different. I got to give a different perspective on some things. It don't necessarily mean that we on different teams on this. I just want to give you a different perspective. Because for the people who are saying if it was 5 white police officers, they wouldn't have got fired so fast, they would have been on desk duty and all that. Keep in mind, the people who actually made the executive move to fire these police officers all are black. The mayor is black. The police chief who executed the firing of these police officers, they're all black. So what are you saying? I don't understand how you would think. So what you're saying is, if it would have been white administrators with white cops, you got to bring all that in perspective. But you're not doing that. You're sitting back here comparing this situation with everything else that happened, all the way back to Rodney King. Who was the first one to say this beating here without even seeing it is worse than Rodney King? I'll raise my hand. I was the first one to say, hey, this beating right here is worse than George Floyd. It's worse than Rodney King, rest his soul. Now I'm starting to hear rumbles of it. I'm starting to hear, oh, this is worse than Rodney King. I'm starting to hear this is worse than Rodney King. Of course it is. So if the people who seen the video before, we haven't even seen it. It come out tonight at 7:00. So the people, the administrators, all black. Their city council, all black. The decision maker to fire these 5 black police officers came from a black administration. So explain to me your logic of if they was white boys, they wouldn't have got fired so fast. You got to add if it was a white boy, you got to put all these other factors in there to make that make sense. Don't forget that. Have you ever thought that they got fired so fast because this is probably one of the most brutal and worst ass beatings a young black man has taken by any police officer? And it was undisputable. Have you thought of that? Have you thought that might be why they got fired? And keep in mind, they didn't get fired right on the spot. This didn't just happen. This young man died, and then days later, they fired those cops. And then an indictment came down, a direct indictment. So explain to me, why do you really think if this was 5 white cops that they would still be on the job or whatever? I just don't see how you get that logic when in fact, the whole administration is black. And I'm going to tell you something that y'all ain't going to really like. Now, we can agree that this is fucked up. It's really messed up. But I'm going to tell you what I don't like, and ain't nobody saying shit about it. Okay, put it on me. Put it on me to say something. Put it on me to say it. I think that the whole administration is responsible for these 5 cops killing that kid. You know why? You know why? Because this type of behavior starts on top. You won't say that. You won't say that because it's ran by a black lady. You won't say that. But keep in mind, that lady hired those cops. That lady put that, I forgot what they were called. That's a special unit. That's a special unit that went out there and did that shit. Organized by your police chief there, a black lady. And you think this kid right here is the only ass beating they've given since they've been put together? You really think that? Scorpion unit. Thank you, Howard Trout. Thank you, the Scorpion. I almost said crab unit. But do you really think this is the first ass whooping that they didn't put on some people up there? As much crime and shit that's going on in Memphis? No, it's not. It's not. They just beat the shit out of this young man because this young man probably was not a street dude. That is totally an assumption. I don't know if he has a record. I don't care if he has a record. None of that. He wasn't built for that ass beating. Excuse my language. I'm not trying to. That's just me. It come out like that. He wasn't built for that. And my thing is this. This isn't the first time I said let's blame the administration. But I don't hear that same talk. This same, what are what are they called? The Scorpion group is what they are. That same Scorpion group is the same group that chief of police there put in place to fight crime. Special units, division. See, I've always said we're only as good as our leadership. If your leadership is bad, everything is going to be bad. Think about that. Think about who's leading their police department and who's hiring their police officers. Think about that. So yeah, I look at it like this. I'm glad they got fired right on the spot. And I'm not going to add any Kool-Aid. I ain't going to add no sugar. I ain't going to add no sweetener. I ain't going to add none of that shit. I'm going to stay focused on what really needs to be focused on. For people, you a chaos agent if you saying shit like, Well, if these was white cops, that don't have nothing to do with nothing. I've been telling y'all, white cops and black cops beat people ass. That's what it is, and they don't care who it is. It's not about a color thing. It's a classification thing. It's a class thing. That's what it is. And how I'm gonna prove that? I brought a receipt. You don't have to take my word. I brought a receipt, and my receipt is the chief of police in Memphis. She said it herself. So don't get mad at me. I feel how she feel, but don't get mad at me because I didn't say it. She said it. I'm just going by what she said. But I kind of feel the way she feel. I know what she's talking about because she sees the criminals. They know what's going on out in them streets. They know. And they know why police officers are overzealous. They know why they make their moves. They know why they do what they do. But what these 5 police officers did was unacceptable, even to the the chief of police. And she made it very clear. And she fired them on the spot and will deal with the union shit or whatever later. Don't care. You got to go because of what you did. Now, let me tell you one thing that I also seen. Shout out, thank you to CNN. They interviewed one of the city council members. Oh, I got a caller on the line. I'm sorry about that. But let me say this before I go to the caller. They actually interviewed a city council member, and that city council member happened to be a black man, said that he was around during the Rodney King beating. He actually viewed this video of Tyre Nichols. And he said, I don't want to belittle what happened to Mr. Nichols here in Memphis, but I can't compare this to the Rodney King beating. He's saying that it's not as bad as the Rodney King beating. I can't disagree with him or agree with him because we haven't seen the video yet. But I know that Rodney King sat up in the hospital just like this young man did, but Rodney King survived it. Rodney King was beat by 4 or 5 police officers. This young man did too. So I'll be the judge. I'm going to judge it for myself. I'm going to judge it for myself. And I just, deep down inside, I feel like it's going to be worse than Rodney King. I just look at the young man in the hospital, and it just looked like it's going to be worse than Rodney King. I just, I'm not looking forward to seeing it. It's not something I necessarily want to see, but in order to do what we do here, I got to look at it. Let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
What up, Wyatt? This your West Coast connection, Black Not Democrat, also known as Drop Squad 52. What up, bro?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Drop? What's good with you?
Hey, it's all good, man. It's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. But Wyatt, I'm going to make this quick, bro, because I wasn't even expecting you to have a show tonight. But I took a 1-minute excerpt from your show, your last show, where you had on your gray Wyatt shirt. And I because you know what the Drop Squad 52 experience is like. You done seen me go to work creating videos and stuff, right?
Yes, I have.
So what I did, I said, I want to see something. I want to see what kind of attention Wyatt's take on the Memphis 5, because at that time, they hadn't had the press conference announcing the charges and everything on the Memphis 5. So Wyatt, a little over 24 hours ago, your video now has 2,127 views. That's where people clicked and watched the entire minute of your video. Overall, because on Twitter, sometimes you don't have to click the video to watch the whole thing because it's only a minute long. Overall, Mr. Randall Wyatt, the host of Wyatt Live, that video I posted a little over 24 hours yesterday has 4,381 verified views.
Okay.
Now, brother, all I'm telling you is either it's the topic or it's you. Now, I'm going to go with the latter, okay? Because For any video to get over 100 views is big. And you've received 438 verified views in just a little over 24 hours. So all I want to say, brother, you possess something. I'm sure other people have told you, but you possess something. You have a gift of I call it the gift of gab, all right? Because I'm old school. But you have it, brother. And I just wanted to let you know that. And before I go, I guarantee you, Wyatt, I guarantee you that before the trial and everything is over with the Memphis 5, because these were 5 black officers, they're not going to say it was racism, obviously, because it was Tyre Nichols, rest in peace, a black man. But what they're going to say, Wyatt, they're going to say this proves that all police is bad. And they're going to start calling these 5 officers the black faces of white supremacy. You mark my word, Mr. Wyatt, you mark my word. This is what's going to happen, because we haven't even had jury selection. We ain't had a trial start. We don't have any verdicts or anything. But I hope that the protests that start tonight will be peaceful. And I hope it's not hijacked by criminals who want to do some damage to the downtown area of Memphis and any surrounding communities. So that's all I got, Wyatt. And before I go, who day? How about them Bengals? Anything is possible. Drop Squad 52. Dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Be safe in the street, people.
Appreciate it, Drop. Thank you. Hey, thanks for creating the clip as well, Drop. I don't know. He just rolled out. Yeah, I actually seen the clip he's talking about. Drop has an Instagram page, and I'm going to be reaching out to him soon about my royalties. He used my content to create traffic over where he's at, and I want my royalties, Drop. It's about the business. Now, I'm only kidding, brother. Cut me up, slice me up, do whatever you like. I just need the word to get out. I seen the clip. It's over on his Instagram page or Twitter or one of the two. I think it's on Instagram. I think it might be on both. But anyway, I seen it. And there's a few people on here right now. Ryan Lynch says, that's how I got here. I appreciate you coming in, Ryan. I'm glad that you found us over on Instagram or Twitter, and you were able to hear one of my takes on this topic. I appreciate you being here. You may not agree with everything I'm going to say today or tomorrow, or if you stick around or whatever, you may not agree with everything, and we're all cool with it. Everyone here is cool with difference of opinions. I just took a take on it because I knew that this situation, unfortunately, I keep telling people, in order for me to get my point across sometime, it takes a world of tragedy. And some people still won't get my take. They still will be like, I ain't trying to hear it like that. But unfortunately, this shows that police departments in the 2000s, 2022, 2023, are not whooping your ass because you're black. They're whooping your ass because they think they can get away with it. It's a classification thing. White boys with tattoos on their face and all that shit get their ass beat too. I promise you they do. We always talking about it only happened to us. They don't. Let me ask you something. Is there really a softer or a harder way of getting your ass beat? I mean, like, I heard some people saying, well, they don't get their ass beat like us. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, we just don't know it because we don't hear about it. They don't have a Benjamin Crump. The white folks don't have a Al Sharpton. They don't have anybody like that. I seen a lady that was trying to search for an attorney. I tell you what, I'll challenge you. Let's do a legal challenge. For those that say that, go to like 15 just to be consistent. Go to an odd number over 10, and let's say that we go 15. Go to 15 major cities in America. Now, I'm doing this for everybody that like to be smart. Okay, go to 15 major cities in America that have somewhat, crime ridden. You can't go to some backwood Nebraska city where crime, they got Barney and they got Andy Griffin and shit. This won't work there. Go to a major city. You can go to Minnesota. You can go to, I'm talking about major cities, and look at the log of lawsuits paid out by the city caused by the police departments. And you tell me who's sued the police departments more, black people or white people? Who have put more lawsuits on the police departments across this country? White people or black people? Now, y'all know I don't like playing them race cards and white, black, and all that. I don't really like that type of shit. But sometimes in order for me to prove my point, the numbers will explain where I'm coming from. And that's how I knew, and what made me do the research is when Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump took on white clients. When they took on white clients for police brutality, that let me know right there where the money was. All I had to do was find the money. I looked where them two dudes, what direction they was going in, and I found out why. And then they tied in the George Floyd Act. That's the argument when you get to the white guys of fighting for them, putting out these lawsuits for police brutality. When you're fighting for them, they tie it up to the, well, we part of this and this and this and that, the George Floyd Act. Listen, you can't, I don't want to be negative with it, but it's very transparent where the money really is. I promise you. So now, I seen this video today. Thanks, Drop, by the way, for creating that clip of some of me and allowing people on your end of the world, which is out in California, and whoever follows you all over. I appreciate you spreading my words, giving people an opportunity to see me and hear me. And some of them are here right now. So I really appreciate it. And those that are here, just give me a second. Give me a chance. You're not going to like everything that I say, but I usually can come back with an explanation or reasoning of where I'm coming from in my point. I don't just say shit. There's generally some type of, there's some type of reasoning behind what I'm saying. And there's usually a receipt dangling right behind it somewhere. All right, so yeah, I know. Ryan Lynch says, well, what about the white dude in Vegas? That dude did everything police said to do, cried and begged for his life. That cop murdered that kid in cold blood. And I know who you're talking about. It was at the hotel. He was laying down in the hallway. He was stretched out in the middle of the floor. And he did everything those police officers asked him to do. But guess what they shot and killed him. It was white police officers. The white police officers shot the white dude. Now, keep in mind, I know that type of stuff happens. It's not on the national hearing scale because it can't be pushed the same way. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by pushed. That white family, if you want to call it that, went out and got a lawyer. The cops were not charged, but they won a civil suit against the city of Las Vegas. They won a civil suit without police officers being formally charged and going to jail for murder. Did y'all hear about that? No, but that's what I'm telling you. Go look at some of these major cities where these other people are getting shot as well, and look at the lawsuits that these cities are paying out. Look at the lawsuits. The lawsuits will tell you who's being done the most. Now, I know y'all don't really want to hear that. I know you don't really want to hear that because it don't fit the narrative. So let's get back to this situation in Memphis. The police chief herself happened to be a female black woman, went on CNN with Don Lemonade. I shouldn't have done that. I try to be nice. CNN gave me some content, and I went for Don Lemonade. My bad, Don. I don't know you, but I know you a chaos agent, and I know Don Lemonade. That's better than what the other folks be calling you. I was nice. But this police chief went on the record. How about I just show it? How about I show it? Let me see if I can show it real fast. I want to see if I can show this. Yeah, let's do it. Watch this. Let me say this first before I go in. This police chief said that this. Nah, fuck it. Let me let y'all listen to it, and then you tell me what you get out of it. Yeah, let's go.
Was it when he tried to run away?
There is physical interaction between Mr. Nichols and the driver at the very beginning as the officers are trying to get him out of the car. But it's still unknown what the original reason was for the stop in the first place.
I have to ask you, it's 5 black officers, the black police chief, the black community. What do you make of the race of the officers and what that says to the community and to the country about the policing, the care?
Well, I think it takes off the table that issues and problems in law enforcement is about race. And it is not. It's about human dignity, integrity, accountability, and the duty to protect our community. And as this video will show you, it doesn't matter who's wearing the uniform, that we all have that same responsibility. So it takes race off the table, but it does indicate to me that bias might be a factor also in the manner in which we engage the community.
You've given, I appreciate, I shouldn't say happy because there's nothing happy about this, but I appreciate that you've taken the time to be so candid and to give us so much time. Is there anything that I missed, anything that you would like to say to the community, to the family, to the country, really, about what you're dealing with here?
So as someone who's been involved in the whole police reform conversation, going before the Senate, it's just important for me as a leader to not just talk about police reform, but to take swift action, and also to represent other law enforcement leaders who have also reached out, who also believe that the way we handle these types of things, and unfortunately, a man had to die for us to get to a point where we could actually exercise what justice looks like.
Okay, I had a box on. I had my mic on at the same time that the video. Did that come out clear? Could everybody hear the video? Was it echoing? I'm just curious because in the middle of the video, I realized that my mic was on, and I don't know if the mic was giving you feedback. Could everybody hear that? Did you hear it clearly? Okay, then okay, thank you, Howard. So I'll just leave it the way it, okay, Stephanie, thank you guys. They said that no, they heard it fine. All right, so the reason why I play this clip is because at the beginning, she clearly said, these type of things, these aren't racial issues. See, we can't get that same type of bounce, that pushback. We can't get that type of truth from chief of police's when it's those white cops doing it. We got to wait for a tragedy like this to happen for them to start saying things like these police brutalities are not driven by race. They're not driven by race. But our policing needs, nobody's ever said anything that like police reform is not necessary. No one's ever said that. I've always said that, look, I know there needs to be some changes on a police department. I know that for a fact that police brutality exists. I know what police officers go through on a daily basis too, because all I got to do is wake up every day, shower, go get in my car, head to the office, go over to court, get the docket, and I can tell what happened last night. I can tell what happened last night. I see all the CCW charges. I see all the domestic violence charges. I see all the I see all the cases that are violent. in your local city, in your city. I see that. Now imagine those dockets spread throughout America each day. Each day. Who's out there fighting that stuff? Oh, y'all think I'm sitting here capping like for the police? Nah. I'm just telling you, I'm the same one who said once they go through an incident of violence out on the streets, they need to be subbed in like they in an NBA basketball game or in an NFL game. You take a hard hit, you need to get off the get you need to get up, go to the bench. You need to go home for 48 hours. I'm the one who said that. That would be part of my police reform. How many police officers get shot when most of them get shot when they're going to domestic violence incidents? Most of them get shot, stabbed or whatever when they go into a violent home. I'm not capping for them, guys. I promise you I'm not. I'm just trying to let you know these cops need to be off the street when they enter a building, see men and women fighting, and then they get involved in the fight as well. They need to go home for 2 days at least. Clear their mind. Don't take that same energy to the next crime scene. Don't take that energy that you just rolled over and was fighting somebody. Don't take that to the next scene. That's where that now you judging your next situation just like you just left. You can't tell me you don't do that. You can't tell me that you ain't never been into it with your old man or your old woman at home, and then your kid come in and your kid end up getting that energy that you and your wife just had. That happens to everybody, or you not human. So when police officers have a dangerous or, some type of, somebody asked me a question. Yo Underwood said, Wyatt, what is a CCW charge? That's a carrying concealed weapon, gun. You get a CCW or something of that nature, that's carrying a concealed weapon. It could be a knife. It could be a gun. Most cases, it's a gun. Anything that you can use to hurt someone that's considered, it could be a shank. It could be anything that's used in a violent manner as a weapon. But those guys need to be off the street for a minimum of 48 hours when they get into an incident like that. But then, there's a shortage of police officers. So how that's going to work? How is that going to work? How they going to keep subbing each other in and out like they in a damn WWE, like the wrestling? Remember back in the day, they would do the tag team and the next guy go in and fight? How that's going to happen? I think Cincinnati Police Department was down 100 cops. That's 100 subs. That's probably on the realms of about 5 substitutes per shift during a week. Maybe more than that, 10 or 15 maybe. But the truth of the matter is, these guys carry the same energy that they just left in the scene. And I mean, they're human too. They're human too. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care how human or dehuman you are. What happened to that young man by those 5 cops was not humane. I promise you. I don't have to see a video. I could tell how he's living how he was trying to hold on to his life in the hospital. Ventilators, man. Ventilators. That's internal problems. That means this kid, keep in mind, I know we're going to see some things. Nobody can make this thing look pretty. Nobody can shift it around and do it any kind of way to make it make sense. Nobody can do that. But now let me explain to you what's going to happen. You're going to have some people that's going to say, when he got pulled over, they're going to say, well, why did he run? They pepper sprayed him. They tried to handcuff him, pepper sprayed him, and then he ran. The chief of police, the lady that you just seen on the video, said, I can't find evidence showing why they should have pulled this young man over in the first place. They can't find evidence. Now, I have a trained ear for some of this type of stuff. When she uses the word, see, she should not have been on that television, to be honest with you, because number one, she's their superior. 5 members of your staff just got indicted for murder. They work for you. You're the director. And you're going to be called in to court for character when they pull up their folders from past events. You structured that special unit that they are in called the what? Scorpion. Why is she on TV? Now I'm speaking from a legal perspective. I'm not speaking from we out here and this shit about to be a soap opera. I'm telling you that this is why she had no business out there saying what she was saying, because she said, we seen no evidence. The evidence that she's talking about is the evidence they gonna need to justify the pulling over of the car, right? But she's actually saying, I need evidence showing, well, let me reverse. She's saying there's no evidence that the car should have been pulled over. So what she's saying is she just lost the case. She just lost the civil case that she's probably going to be in. It has nothing to do with the 5 cops. Because when you sue, you're not just suing the city. You're not just suing the police department. You're going to sue the people. You're going to sue their boss. You're going to sue everybody. That's how it works. Their supervisors, the people who structured the unit, they're going to sue them. And here she is out there saying those things, and I can guarantee you she probably won't be back on the camera. The city manager should have probably had their legal department out there talking and speaking up and all that. That's what should have happened. I'm trying not to speak in technical terms. I put a simple one out there like CCW, and I had to usually if I keep it, on a certain level, I don't have to go back and rehash words and things of that nature. I'm just being honest. So I try to say what I'm saying so we all can, just kind of keep it in concert, keep it going. But the truth of the matter is that police chief saying everything that she said, not just what I got out of it, which was it's not a white thing or a black thing. It's not a racial thing. This is a classification thing. This is a thing that most of the time when people like this get hemmed up, beat up, not to this severity of just being, killed and their life being taken away from them. This generally happens in deprived areas. This special unit was formed to only operate in low income, areas, impoverished areas. What does impoverished areas bring? Higher crime rates. That's where the crime numbers are. So that's where we stick these special unit task force. And then everybody get wrapped up into this crime even look, when somebody heard me say that I don't circle the wagon, they hit me. They hit me with a bad DM. Like I thought I was better than somebody. You don't even understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't go in areas where I can get caught up in circling the wagon. I'm not going to get hit with arrows because I don't surround myself. I don't put myself in those areas. And a lot of you don't either. This type of shit ain't happening in the suburbs. It's not happening in the suburbs. It's not happening in the wealthy areas for sure. But it's not happening in the minimum, middle class areas. It's not happening there. I heard people saying some shit like this, specifically on the radio. And they would say things like, see, that's them black cops showing off for the white cops. Well, damn, it was 5 black cops where the white cops they showing out for. No, it wasn't 5 black cops. Get off the rap music, and the NWA shit has been proven. Ice Cube lyrics are what Ice Cube lyrics were in the 90s. Ice Cube was making money off his verses, and he was making everybody feel different about what was going on. I give him all of that, but at the same time, it's not black cops showing off for the white cop when your police department and your special unit is predominantly black, with a black police chief, black city mayor, and a black mayor. That's not what's going on. This is all about power. This is all about somebody feeling like they can just do you any old kind of way because of their position in life. Not because I'm a black man that got more power than anybody and I'm going to do what I want to do with anybody. That ain't the take. The take is I got a badge. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'll beat your ass. Why don't they have that same energy for an upscaled black man who's riding around in a nice car, who's getting money legally, who can afford to fight their ass? Well, it happens. You just don't hear about it. You know why you don't hear about it? Because the cities always settle them type of cases. CNN, Fox, and all those places aren't even informed. I told you, take 15 cities, go to 15 cities and look up their lawsuits against the police departments. And you'll find that they have significant payments going out to white people for police brutality that you never even hear about. That family, that white family in Las Vegas, who I forgot who it was, but the young man, the guy who brought up, let me get his name. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names. Ryan Lynch. I'm sorry, brother. That kid out in Las Vegas who got shot and killed, white kid, stretched out on the floor and all that. His parents couldn't even get the news to come in and check and do that. CNN didn't go to that white family. Fox didn't go to that white family. MSNBC didn't go to that white family because it wasn't juicy. It wasn't juicy. It didn't matter. We can't do nothing with that. And they sure in the hell don't want you to hear about the payout. They sure in the hell don't want you to hear how that family got $1.2 million in a civil suit. They don't want you to hear that. It's amazing. I knew the spin was coming. And if you can't make it a racial thing, you'll construct it to be a racial thing. 5 black cops do the same thing, if not worse, to a black kid. And the best that a chaos agent can say is this. If you're not saying the black cop showing off for the white cop, I've already told that wasn't even possible. Here's your next go-to card to make it racial. Well, if this would have been 5 white cops, they wouldn't have got fired this fast. That's the best you can do to make this a racial issue. It's a pure assumption. It's a pure assumption. It's even an assumption for a white cop to kill a black guy and for you to say he did it because he's a white supremacist. All I'm doing is getting my point across of what I've been saying for damn near 3 years on Wyatt Live. We want to focus on people that don't look like us, when in fact it be us that be doing us in, and we ignore it when we do each other. We ignore it. It ain't no big thing. It go all the way back to when I was saying about the school board. The reason why y'all don't care, that it don't matter that our kids are failing in school, is because the leader looks like us. We're only as good as our leadership. We're only as good as our leadership. How could you have a racist police department with a black woman as the police chief who actually puts the hiring in place, tells the lieutenants the type of individuals they want on the police department? She sets the tone. This is not 1954, 1968 police department. This is a police department structured with black leadership. Now, y'all know the conversations would be totally different right now if it was 5 white police officers. The whole narrative of what happened that night, they got hunted down. Them white people, with one of them had on a Confederate flag t-shirt. All that shit will be coming out. Look, folks, I'm not trying to justify any of that. This is just my moment to be able to show you that everything that we've been programmed to believe in a systematic situation is not always what we've been led to believe it is. If I tell you a true story, you won't believe me. But me being out in, I ain't no street dude, but I've been there. One of the police that y'all loved it today was just starting out when I was a kid. 19 years old, 18 or 19 years old, whatever it was. I'm out there. Same cop that you love today. Ain't no cop no more. Them was the motherfuckers taking the money out of our pockets. Never got a receipt for that. Now, I ain't gonna say no names. I ain't a rumor starter either. Same cops y'all love today been suspended. Had they police powers taken away from them. Y'all don't know about it. There's been several. But they only worked in our neighborhood. So they didn't bust motherfuckers in the head too. You don't hear about it. So let's get off to that racial thing. Nah, this is a power thing. This is one of them things where people who think they better than you because of their position and the fact that they can change your life financially, they can end some shit for you. They love that power. I remember one night, I'm gonna tell you the truth. There's a black dude that I thought was cool, who's on the police department. Well, this dude was actually abusing his power by following my wife regularly. He used to be, and I'm gonna tell you, he used to be a security guard at one of the department stores. I don't want to put anything out there so I can be sued, but this is a true story. He used to be a security guard at a department store in Cincinnati. My wife worked there when we first met. That's where she was working. And he was one of them undercover security guys, that lock you up. I don't know what they call loss prevention or whatever. That's what he did. And he had this little crush thing on my wife, and she wasn't really feeling him. So he would walk her to the door, safety, he would call it. Want to walk her to the parking lot, safety, he called it. And she finally came and told me, like, man, this dude keep, And then as he walking me to my car, he always coming on to me, and I keep telling him. Couple years later, he becomes a real police officer for Cincinnati. This dude would utilize his police powers, pull my wife over in her car, put the lights on her, know who she is because he would run her tags, pull her over just to talk to her. Just to talk to her. Well, I could give you a ticket. I could give you a ticket, but maybe dinner or something. A brother. And then I find out years later that he had been doing this for a while, and my wife wasn't the only one he was doing that to. And then I found out years later that this man then killed a black man. Killed a black man while on duty. See, this ain't about race. This is about people who get power and can't handle it. They can't handle it. Most of them, let me explain to you what I noticed. This is not a jab at police officers, because there's some great ones, there's some good ones, and there's some awful ones. But anybody who would deal with criminals, anybody that will deal with criminals on a day-to-day, this includes myself, I deal with criminals. Anybody that will deal with criminals on a day-to-day basis and can take it, probably has some criminalistic thoughts and processes in their mind. Y'all already know I do. I'm not Mr. Goodbar. I am now, but I have not always been Mr. Goodbar. I figured, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of had this idea that life of crime was going to be something for me. But I figured this shit out. I figured out how to let the life of crime work for me instead of me working for the life of crime. Just happened to work out. Defense attorneys can say the same thing. Judges can say the same thing. Police officers can say the same thing. You have to have somewhat of a connection as a criminal mind in order to deal in this profession. I'm sorry. They may not agree with me on that, but you can't. That's like going, how you going to be a motherfucking dance studio owner, but you don't dance? You can't listen to that music all day. That'll drive your ass crazy. How the hell you gonna be a nurse and can't stand the sight of blood? It just don't make sense now, does it? You have to be a ER nurse or a nurse that's dealing with patients. You got to be able to deal with the shit that come with the medical field, right? So if you're doing that all day, you probably had this thing of loving action, dealing with patients and doing what you need to do. That's how people on the police department are. Listen, little boys, I'm a victim. I'm not a victim, but I'm a participant in this myself. Fellas, I don't care where you're from and where you're at. How many of us played cops and robbers as kids? How many of you played SWAT? You know, SWAT is, the SWAT team, kicking in doors. We all played that shit. We was raised playing cops and robbers, and it was fun being robbers. It was fun being cops. And then some of those people that played that shit end up being real cops. And that's saying that, I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of the cops that I knew, they either were one of two people. They used to get bullied all the time, or they were a bully. I know one guy that was neither or. I would like to speak on, there's some cops that just wanted to be just wanted to be a police officer for the whole thing, the whole notion of, I'm coming to change the world. I want to get this off the streets, drugs off the streets. I want to make the world safe. There are some cops that feel that way, but the majority of cops that I know personally, they were one of two people. They were either bullies. That kid, he was a kid. The police officer that used to mess with my wife, he was a bully. You couldn't tell him shit. Bodybuilder dude. He was a bully. But then I also knew some that got bullied. And they're the same out on the street. The ones that got bullied act just like the ones that were bullies once they get that power. We love to call it racism, but I'm going to tell you right now, I've been treated way worse by some of these black cops than I have the white ones. I ain't saying all my experiences with, I've been done bad by a white cop before personally, in a Benz, the whole nine. He thought he had him one. I wasn't dressed up that day. He thought he had him one of them boys. He thought he had one. Some of y'all know that story is too long to tell tonight. But it turned out that I was who I am today. At that time, I was still who I am today. and he it was a dead run for that police officer. He was hating life at that moment. But I've also been done probably, if not equally bad, worse than that by a black cop. Actually taken to jail by the black cop on a recitable situation. Recitable. A non-payment of ticket that I didn't even know exist. This cop could have wrote me a ticket. A recitable offense is when you do something and maybe they issue a warrant for your arrest because you didn't pay a ticket or you didn't show up for court or whatever. If it's recitable, usually it's misdemeanor. If these items are recitable, you can ask or request that police officer to recite you to court. And they'll go through the system and set you up on a ticket. You'll sign it and they'll give you a court date on the spot. If you can't get that on a misdemeanor, just ask to speak to the sergeant. He or she'll call the sergeant in. And if they the sergeant might take the cop's word and say, hey, go ahead and do what you got to do. But then sometimes they'll come in and say, look, let's just recite him. This particular black officer didn't allow the sergeant to come in. He was a Hamilton County sheriff. He didn't allow the supervisor to come. He took me to jail on a non-payment of ticket. I get to the jail. The white cops think that I'm some big ass criminal because I'm handcuffed going into a local station up in Forest Park, and I'm going in like they just caught this dope dealer. I go in there. They look at my paperwork. They put me in a cell. My paperwork's sitting there. While I'm sitting in the cell, they stripped me of everything. I had to take my shoestrings out, y'all, on a ticket. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there, I'm so heated. I had shit to do. I had places to be. I'm so heated that I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. I look over and I hear all the white officers laughing. You know why they laughing? They ain't laughing at my black ass. They laughing at his black ass. Because they came with my paperwork and was like, Mr. Wyatt, wait a minute, hold on. You here for a ticket? And I was like, yeah, that I wasn't even aware of. They said, well, generally in cases like this, you had to sign the previous ticket to move on and you just didn't show up for your court date on this ticket, it looks like. Well, man, I said, well, what's the date? They can look in the system by the case number. The case number will let you know when the ticket or when the case was issued. It had been 3 years ago from that arrest date, from that date. 3 years. So maybe I did sign a ticket and I forgot about it. I don't know. I got shit to do. Be thinking about no moving. I ain't thinking about that, but I'm at fault. So I can't argue that he arrested me because he had every right to do it. But was it necessary? No. Them cops laughing at my ass. They brought my shoes back. These are the white cops, the ones that we hate the most, laughing. And you need a soda. You want something to drink? Nah, I'm cool, man. I'm ready to go. Well, he's already started your paperwork and booked you in the system. He's gonna be taking you downtown in about an hour. Huh? You mean I gotta go to the Justice Center on a fucking ticket? Well, yeah, sir. I mean, I said, what? It was recitable. But since he had already put me in the system, started his long day of paperwork for this hardened ass criminal, since he already put me in the system, now they got to continue to go with the whole process. They've already issued out a case number. We're going to get out of here soon, y'all. They're going to be showing the video at 7 o'clock. I'm keeping up with the time. It's 6:35 right now. I'm not really looking forward to seeing this video, quite frankly. I know the Chaos Agent. I know everybody that love the One Life to Live and all the storytellers and all. You can't wait. You can't wait to see this video. You can't wait. I'm with Tyre Nichols' mom. She couldn't watch it. I have 2 children of my own and I wouldn't be able to watch somebody beat my children. I wouldn't be able to beat my child to death and then you yelling out for your mom. I wouldn't be able to watch that. It's not going to be a soft, it's not going to be a good watch for me. I got to watch it because I know the energy. I know what's going to happen. I know a lot of people are going to start talking about it, and I'm going to have to cover it on this show. I don't have to, but I kind of have to. And I can tell you right now, I don't care what that councilman says at Memphis. This shit is worse than Rodney King. It's going to be worse than Derek Chauvin with George Floyd. I guarantee you it's going to be worse. How I know is I watched how this kid died in the hospital. Number two, I seen how swift Memphis police chief fired them guys. I see how an instant indictment came. They didn't get charged. They got an indictment. They got a direct indictment. Who knows what that is? Can anybody tell me what a direct okay, let's get to the legal aspect of this. Who knows what a direct indictment is? Come on now. I won't call you a jailhouse lawyer, I promise. These 5 police officers got direct indictments. They weren't charged and then taken to a grand jury for review. The information and the proof that they need to get an indictment was handed directly to a judge. A judge signed a bench warrant, issued an indictment right away. That's how I know how bad this is. There's no taking it to the grand jury. These guys got direct indictments. And they have bonds set on them. I believe all of them are out but one of them. I think the average bond, which for a murder too, is very low. They all should have got a $1 million bond, quite frankly. It's still a murder. But they get I think the average was like $300,000. I think one of them got $250,000 bond or $300,000. 10% of that. If you have a house or something like that, I mean, they can make them bonds. If you're a working class individual, you'll find a way to make that bond. Plus, it's not safe for them to be in jail. So they can cry to their families and their wives and the people that they can cry to people and say, hey, I need to get out of here. I can't be sitting in here. Now, the one that's left, he ain't got nobody probably. He ain't got nobody. And you don't know how much money these guys have been able to put in their pocket over the years. I said what I said. I said what I said. So I'm on the team. I told y'all when I see some foul shit going on with the police, I'm first to steamroll it. I'm first in line to talk about the shit and talk about how bad it is, but I'm not going to fall for all that other bullshit that come with it. That's not me. That's not me. You're not going to sit back and tell me how racist this society is because of what these white police officers are doing to us out here, when in fact, I know black cops been doing it just as long as they have. Now, maybe not as long, but I'm talking about in my lifetime. Since I've been in the streets and then converted from the streets over to the legal aspect of it, we always had players, irons in the fire. Always. And that old shit of the white cop, black cop showing out for the white cop. Show me how they doing that when your police department is all black, your leadership is black, your mayor is black, everybody's black. Now you got to make this other narrative. The narrative that you've been setting for 3 decades don't fit in this. So now we got to say, well, if they was white, they'd be on desk duty. That's preposterous. That's stupid. That's just chaos agents doing what they do when they have to explain some nonsense that they just can't explain. White cops do bad shit to white people too. So if you kick a white boy in the head as a white cop, that's police brutality. But if you're a white cop and you kick a black guy in the head, it's not just police brutality, it's racist as well. That makes no sense. I'm off of this until after the video comes in. I just want to say something because I put I was going to show the Paul Pelosi video. I might show it if I have a couple minutes at the end. There's one thing I want to touch on. I put a post out there. Some of y'all know. I said, Aftab, Cincinnati Mayor Aftab is my favorite mayor in the city of Cincinnati, probably in my lifetime. And I mean it. I absolutely mean it. You want to know why? He's a Democrat. That's not why. I'm just saying that's probably shocking for some of y'all who think that I probably rock with the other side over the other side. It has nothing to do with the sides. I'm on the side of common sense. I'm on the side of people that empower people. I'm on the side of people who make things like make people understand that if you put the work in, that you can become whatever you want to become. I also put in my caption that he's Obama-like. You know what I'm saying? And what I meant by that was this. This is what I like about him. Breath of fresh air a little bit. You know, he's a breath of fresh air a little bit. A lot of people don't really hear what I hear when I hear him talk. Y'all think that he's talking just for equality. Every time I hear this man talk, he make it make sense. Y'all heard me say when he won his mayorship in the city of Cincinnati, when Aftab won to be the mayor, his acceptance speech was amazing. He's very articulate. He's sharp, clean. I'm not going to say that he does everything that he says he's going to do because it's still early in the game. I think he's at halftime right now. But let me explain what I heard him say that I became a fan that night. And some of y'all think that I don't like him because I've said some things. No, I just hold people accountable for certain things. But then I give credit where credit is due as well. And let me just say this to you. The night of his acceptance speech, y'all have heard me say this before, but the night of his acceptance speech, he said, "Here I am, an Asian man out of Cincinnati, Ohio, a brown Asian man out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I am proof that you can be whatever you want to be here in Cincinnati." Did he not say that? Isn't that what I've been saying as well? Not trying to steal his thunder, but that's the shit that people were giving me a hard time for saying it. I guess I'm just not the right person to say it. Aftab grew up in the city of Cincinnati. His mom was a struggling business woman. They owned a little pony keg type of store in the hood. I don't know what neighborhood was hood. I shouldn't say in the hood, but in the neighborhood. They were working class people. He went off to go. They understood the value of education. He got educated. They sent him to nice high schools, sent him to nice colleges, and then he came out with a law degree. Why can't everybody else do that? That's basically what he's saying. He's from that. He's from lower middle class. My mom and them ran a small business. I'm the American dream is basically what he's saying. And then the night of his acceptance speech, I fell in love with the man, with his speech. And that was simply this: I am proof. You got to understand, take balls to say that. Don't if you have the political side of the parties on your side, then it don't take as much balls. Because they don't really hear what you're saying. They still on the ether of the moment. Truth of the matter is, what he told y'all is, it ain't no excuse to be not what you want to be, especially in Cincinnati. Look at me. That's what he said. Now, y'all know there'll be some hating ass motherfuckers out there if I said that. If I said that, y'all be hating. Oh, see, he think I told y'all, you give motherfuckers some money. See how they be? But when he said it, I had my pom-poms on and I was cheering. Now, here's the latest thing he said. I heard him on an interview with Mr. Lincoln Ware. And it was about the housing situation and the lawsuit that's going on in the city of Cincinnati. I can't think of his lawyer's name, but he's representing a group, and they're suing the city of Cincinnati over housing. And I believe it has something to do with tax abatements and things of that nature. The first name of the lawyer, his name is Bob something. I can't think of his name. Well, anyway, Mr. Ware talked to him one day, and then he had Aftab come on, I think the next day, or maybe it was the same day, but it was different times. The lawyer is filing a lawsuit under the pretense of the tax abatements are racist. Racist. He comes to a black radio station, a white lawyer, with the energy of the city of Cincinnati being racist in their practices of how they do this tax abatement. Here comes Mr. Aftab Pureval, who says, when Lincoln Ware get to him, Lincoln Ware brought it up. He brought it up to him. Here's what Mr. Aftab Pureval said. He said, I find it kind of insulting. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit. He says it's kind of weird, or I'm a little insulted that a lawyer who would bring this onto a black platform and would call a predominantly black city council, and then me being an Asian black man. That's what he said, not me. He said, I'm an Asian brown man. Predominantly black city council, and you're going to come in here talking about we're racist in our policies. See, you got to understand something. What made Aftab my number one guy when he brought that up is he brought the attention of this white guy coming in here talking about we're racist. And that's a common practice for white people who trying to make money off of black people back. They always using the race. It don't be us. It's the people who set the tone. It's the people who have the financial beings or the in cap way of somebody else getting something. They set the tone of the racial thing. And that's exactly what this lawyer is doing by making it not an economy thing, not an economic thing, not a classification thing, but a race thing. And when Aftab said what he said in that answer, it was beautiful. Because he said, how could a white lawyer, I'm summing it up this way, how can a white lawyer come over here to a predominantly black city council with a brown Asian mayor and say that we have racial or racist policy? See, you got to understand what he just said is you trying to discredit the black folks like we ain't got no sense or we ain't smart enough to see the racism or the inequities towards black people. We can't see that. And you bring in a lawsuit and you talking to a predominantly black audience. We know exactly what you're trying to do. Let that sink in for a second. I don't know if people get what I'm saying here. I don't even think people got what Aftab Pureval was saying. I got it, bro. I understood what you were saying, Mr. Mayor. And I understand how people like that particular lawyer will use the black culture to achieve and make what they have going on. I understand how that type of shit work. I watch it every day. I watch CNN and all those guys push narratives. They're not pushing the same narrative on this same case in Memphis. Their argument is totally different than it was if those cops would have been white. This would be a whole different program. They would rename the show. They would have different writers. Everything would be totally different if those cops was white. It wouldn't be about police brutality. It'd be about racism and how systematic programs in the police department, all that shit. That's what it would be focused on. It would be focused on that. It wouldn't be police brutality and police brutality only. Because you can't blame a system that's ran by black people. You can't call that system racist towards its own. You can't do it. It makes no sense. Look up true racism. You know, y'all the same ones. Some of the chaos agents are the same ones who say shit like black people can't be racist. And then you go to your dictionary and you find out what the word racist really means. A white supremacist, you find out what that is, and then you've been taught black people can't be racist. Haven't you heard that before? I'm not one to say it, but I'm just saying, haven't you heard that before? I know I have plenty of times. I done heard and seen black people do some things that's just like white people. But when we do it, it ain't racist. When they do it, it's definitely racist. And I'm going to use this Memphis 5 as an example. I just have to use this as an example. It's a receipt for me. Because of all the people in the last 3 years, it'll be 3 years on Wyatt Live in March. The last 3 years, every time I bring up a situation, and it's some of y'all that can't wait for these videos to come out. You'll pray to your God. I bet you when you heard about this story, which you probably heard about it here first, because they wasn't going as hard. They wasn't going as hard on this story when it was 5 black cops accused of beating, killing this kid. They weren't going as hard. But then they found the angle. Well, now what we can do is we can bring in the George Floyd bill. Now we can justify everything we've been saying about police brutality, but that's not how you were describing police brutality when George Floyd got killed. That's not how you were describing police brutality when Breonna Taylor got killed. You was all making it a racial issue. And you was specifically taking things that was happening to black people and you was exploiting it for racial issues. You were not telling the truth about it. You don't talk about the white cops that do white people wrong. You don't even talk about the black cops that do white people wrong. You just want the black people to be victims because you want to keep in our mind that we are victims, so we'll act like a victim. We'll come off like a victim. We'll keep a victim mentality. Nah, that shit ain't working with me, bro. It's not going to work with me. It's not going to. We all victims. It's just a matter of how you going to deal with your victimization. Some people can get over being victimized and some people can't. It's not easy. But as long as you got help staying in a position of victimhood, you become content. It becomes easier and easier to deal with. Because some of the worst things that ever happened to me in life, this is a personal thing. I don't want to get into it, but one of the worst things that happened to me in the world, I was working for a company. I was straight out of school. And I wasn't straight out of school. I had been working for this company about 4 years. And I went through a tragedy. My wife and I went through a somewhat of a tragedy. And I thought I was alone in this world. I thought I was alone. In other words, I was like, God, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? And my wife, of course. And I felt alone. I felt like God, my faith was floating away. I was like, this is just not right. If there was a God, he wouldn't do this to me. I took it personal. Now, let me tell you what happened to me. Took off a couple days of work, end up going back to work a couple days after this incident because I had to get back to work. And when I got to work, a couple of the guys, white guys and black guys, came to my office, sat down with me one by one, and gave me their experience of the same thing that happened to them that happened to me. And for some old golly ass reason, they say that misery love company shit. That's a true statement. But there's also this thing in life where when you realize that you're not the only one that went through a specific struggle, and there's people that have gone through it 2, 3 years prior, or a couple years ago, or 10 years ago, whatever it may have been, you tend to be able to accept what happened to you a little bit easier because it happened to them too. And you say to yourself, okay, it don't make it better, but if they survived it, I guess I'll be okay. Sometimes we need to be in a position of knowing that God hasn't attacked us one-on-one. He didn't give us something that we couldn't handle because they handled it. And them guys, man, I ain't even get along with those dudes. I didn't even get along with them cats. A couple of them came through and was like, man, listen, me and my wife went through the same thing. I had never even heard about this type of stuff happening. I heard about it happening, but I just never knew that, like, it never happened to someone close to me, so I never had a conversation about it. But the truth of the matter is, once someone shared with me their experience, it made me accept my situation a little bit more. And that's what happens. I'm going to divert. That's what happens when you get into this police brutality and all this old shit. When it becomes content, the argument becomes okay. You accept the argument of it being racial because there's so many stories that make you feel like it's normal. You can relate. But you don't hear all the stories. You don't hear all the stories. So, folks, I'm going to get out of here in a couple seconds. But my challenge to you, it's a Google. You ain't got to go to the library and do all that goofy shit. It's a Google. Google 15 cities, major cities in Cincinnati. And look at their look at the litigation against the city and police brutality. And when you look at that, they always have the race. And it always tell you the percentage that were white, Asian, whatever. Other, white, black, other, Latino, all of that. Some of these cities have paid in the excess of $20 to $30 million for these cases. And here's the other thing. They budget for it. Cities budget for lawsuits. They budget for police lawsuits. They budget for civil suits. And it's not because the guy that was working for the city who was putting in the stoplight up there dropped the stoplight down on somebody's car, scared them half to death, and they won $100,000. Most of those lawsuits are dealing with the police department in unjust situations. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is check for yourself. Here's a question. I know everybody including myself, love Irish Rowley. My question is, Irish Rowley and them were in a situation where they had a waiting list of people for what they do. And that is, those are people who file a complaint. I forgot what the action is, what their action, some network that they do. It's a network. And it's people who have filed not necessarily lawsuits, but complaints against the Cincinnati Police Department. I would have a conversation with Irish Rowley. Maybe she can give us the information one day. If they did a breakdown, how many of those people that are filing complaints in the backlog and all of them, how many are black and how many are white? I would be curious to know in Cincinnati. I would be curious to know. Are there white people on that waiting list as well who have complaints about the police department? Probably so. Probably so. And if that's the case, that kind of proves our point a little bit more too. These civil suits that these cities are facing. Thank you, Sean D. Naughty. He says Citizens Complaint Authority. That don't say Black Citizens Complaint Authority now, does it? Because they get work from white people. They probably get work from Latinos too. Asians as well. Hamilton County does not have a huge, diverse, population. But don't let it fool you. They've been around long enough to get complaints from white people, Latino people, and Asians. But being headed by like Irish Rowley and being black, she's known more, and they know her at the radio stations. The white city of Cincinnati white side know who she is. She's been around long enough to make enough noise where they see her coming and she probably look like a problem. When in fact, she's fighting for everybody. She's fighting for everybody. It ain't no rule on the door when you go down to that Citizen Complaint Authority that says black people owned. It don't say black owned. It's every citizen in the city who's having a problem with the police department. Look, hey, that's my time, guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to set up and look at the video. Unfortunately, it's not what I really want to do, but I'm going to have to be able to talk about this. I guess we'll talk about it on Monday. Maybe we'll get that King and I in on Monday at 3 o'clock. Regardless, we'll be here at 5 o'clock on Wyatt Live as well. So peace and love to everybody, man. Have a great weekend. Who Dey. Let's get this win, Cincinnati. Let's go to Super Bowl, whatever number, 50, whatever it is, or whatever the number is. Let's go. I know it's in Phoenix, Arizona. I think I'm going to gas up. I'm going to have some fuel in the plane, and I'm going out to Arizona. Let's go. Who they think going to beat them Bengals? Peace and love to everybody, man. I'll holler at y'all.
Music, please.
Two very talented young men whose mellow and exciting style of rapping has earned them a gold album in only their first try.
I'm shaking business.
They are EPMD.
The E double or the BMD. The E double or the BMD.
I'm shaking business.
Trying to answer to the master or the empty rap goddess. No joke or no lyric, sorry to be modest. I knew I was the man with the master plan to make you wiggle and jiggle like gelatin. Just think while I sing and to the bring structure. Don't sleep on the ear. You see something might rupture. It don't take time for me to blow your mind. It take a second to wreck it because you're dumb and blind, so just lounge. But you an MC clappers on the circus. EPMD is in town.
Total chaos, no mass confusion. Rhymes so hypnotizing on the course and illusion. Like a magician, he draws a rabbit out of hat, son. I'm drawing more like a 44 Mac. MC Freeze, stop and listen and try to imagine this traveling the speed of light, but everything's motion is frightening. Plus the thought you alone, you now enter the dimension called the Twilight Zone. You're terrified. Plus you can't bear the thought. You and I one-on-one in the land of the lost. You start to shiver. Then you scream, my friend. You wake up monthly because you're dreaming again. But next time I want to see you, do not try to business. Keep your mouth so soft and jump because I'm shaking business. Because I'm shaking, because I'm shaking business. Because you might get shot. Because I'm shaking business.
This is the rap season, where the East starts teasing. Girls around the world, no need to be squeezing. When I roll, I show cool, always back and two, just in case. My brother acts a fool, I got the energy to put the girls in the frenzy, put a shock when I rock. Giving up, I'm not stingy, make sure I don't bore when I'm on the dance floor.
Get busy, boy.
Like you never saw before, one flow, good to go. After the show, I'll put your whole boy. You sniff blow? Hell no, have my whole life ahead of me, no time to be sniffing. My parents